At first, I thought maybe there wouldn't be a very big of a connection at all between fashion design and tattoo design. What I've realized through all of my experience is that it's extremely connected. When I worked in fashion, basically I designed things to be worn on the human body, and now I design things to be worn on the human body, literally on the body, in the body, you know. But it's still, the knowledge I got from fashion design was invaluable to me. It was human anatomy, how the body flows, the muscle structure, how to use images to create an illusion to make the body look like whatever you want it to look like. So all that education with the human form and flow and everything like that translated pretty directly from fashion into tattooing. And when I worked in fashion, what I specialized in fashion was making embellishments. I did embroidery, beadwork, appliques, lace work, all of that, you know. So coming into tattooing, once I figured out the logistics of it, I kind of went back to what I already knew in terms of design aesthetic, and I started doing the lace work and the beads and all of that. It just transitioned from material and fabric onto human skin directly. So it was cool. It was a pretty direct line, and I wouldn't have, you know, I wouldn't have wanted to tattoo any earlier because I didn't start till I was 24 tattooing. I think everything happened the way it was supposed to happen, and that knowledge and education that I got was perfect for this current career.
How long did you work as a fashion designer?
I worked, let me see, I was in New York for about 6 years. Almost 5 out of the 6 years I was there, I worked for a private label clothing company, designing all the appliques and all of the embellishments and stuff.
Yeah. You've had an amazing year, 2018 especially. Yeah. You've been featured on all of the top magazines, Tattoo Confessions as a headliner. Mm-hmm. Life is definitely moving at such a quick pace.
Yes.
How do you keep yourself grounded?
It's been really hard keeping myself grounded. I'm from a very small town, and so what makes me feel most like myself is going back to areas where things are a little bit slower, where things are a little bit more simple. I really love nature and hiking and all that outdoorsy kind of stuff, you know. And then with tattooing, I'm lucky because the majority of the clientele that I have are people that are just very humble and supportive, and they all have crazy stories of their own. So I feel like I always have this, not always, but a lot of the time I have a very strong connection with my clients. You know, I'm very open about myself and my story, as I would hope they'd be open about themselves and their story. And I think in that connection, you get the best artwork possible because it's the most custom to them. You know, when you get to know someone as you're tattooing, you get a feel of who they are and how they like to present themselves and how they like to look. And I feel like knowingly or unknowingly, you know, the artwork sort of starts to form into them and their personality, and it becomes a collaboration between me and the client, which is cool. But keeping myself grounded has been, it's still really hard to believe, honestly. Even in this past year with all the magazines and everything, I'm like, I'm still me. I'm still the same person. You know, I don't, everybody's making such a big deal out of all of the, you know, things I've been doing, but I just try to keep my head in the game and remember who I am, and just to be a good person, treat everybody with kindness and respect. And I think once you lose that is when you start losing yourself.
What was your most memorable moment last year? This year we're still early. We're in February, but last year maybe would be the best.
I'm going to say the most memorable. Oh my gosh, it's hard to pick.
Or a few of them at least.
Traveling has been insane. There was a stretch of 3 months. I think I was in 6 countries in 3 months. I did, let me think, Israel, London, Barcelona, Puerto Rico, New Zealand.
It's crazy.
Mexico, all in like 3 months. Barcelona was crazy, though. I did Barcelona this year. Day 1, I get there, rent a motorcycle, crash it, day 1. So I totaled a motorcycle the first day in Barcelona. By the time we left Barcelona, my assistant lost her brand new iPhone 10 she got for the trip. I lost my brand new iPhone 10 from the trip. And then on the way flying from Barcelona back to New York City, somebody stole my fanny pack with all of the money in it that I made on the entire trip.
Oh, no.
Thousands of dollars, 2 iPhones. I had to pay for a motorcycle. So Barcelona this year, I'm not sure.
I don't know, Barcelona.
Me
It's a
in
good
Spain.
event, though, but
Me
yeah, I
in
don't know.
Spain. Crazy stuff happens.
On another subject matter, one of your fans said you are the most relatable person ever, and you replied, "I'm honestly just a dork." Are you really a dork?
I am such a dork. I am not cool at all. I'm not good at parties or any sort of like fancy.
Really?
I'm just a very real. You just have to be brutally honest. You know what I mean? And the thing that's hard, especially when you're in the public eye and you're in such a limelight, is people have an idea of you painted already in their minds of who they expect you to be. And what's hard is the disappointment you feel when you can never live up to their expectations because you imagine someone a certain way, and then when you meet them and they're not what you imagined, you're disappointed. So for a while, it took a big toll on me, you know, people would meet me and I wouldn't have makeup on, or I wouldn't have like, a pound of hairspray in my hair, and I'd be in pajamas. And I think what I had to do this past year is just remember that I am who I am, and people are going to love me or they're going to hate me. And that's fine. As long as I'm happy with who I am, they can, make their own choice off of that. But I'm definitely finished trying to be what other people want me to be,
It's also impossible to please everyone, but you have to be your true self in the end.
Honestly, and at the end, if you're not happy with yourself and you don't please yourself, then what are you doing it for? Yeah.
I know that you love antiques and oddities, so please explain a little bit about your passions.
Okay. I think it started because I grew up with a single mom for a long time. And her father was an antique dealer. My grandfather was an antique dealer. So growing up, everything my mom had, we were really, really poor. And at the time, because when you're a kid, you don't realize, financial class, social class. You don't think about that stuff. I just thought my mom liked weird old stuff and everything was dusty and. And the older I got, my mom used to take me to flea markets and to garage sales. And
my mom also did the same thing.
Yeah. And it's, when you're a kid, it's the worst thing ever. It's like you're being punished. It's torture. But the older you get, the more you realize, like, oh man, people throw away such beautiful things and they disregard such beautiful things. And as an artist, I started finding inspiration from antiques, from how things used to be made, from the care that these craftsmen used to put into these objects that people just threw aside. So I started collecting them and started sketching from them and taking inspiration not from the internet and Google and all of that, but you find an old jewelry box at a yard sale for $5.
Yeah, you find like a treasure in the middle of all of that stuff.
A treasure. And then I would want to celebrate it. I would want to do a sketch from the artwork on the jewelry box, or I would want to go from there. So my artistic sense developed from all these treasures I was finding my whole life. And now as an adult, I've become what some people call a hoarder, I think. I have a little bit of hoarding tendencies. But I just like collecting beautiful things that are disregarded.
So is it just your house that's full of stuff, or is there more places that you've hidden some stuff in?
Well, moving to New York, I had to downsize because I went from a 4-bedroom gigantic house to a 1-bedroom little apartment in New York. So a lot of the stuff I gave away, I specifically gave it to people that I knew would appreciate it as much as I did. And it honestly felt good getting rid of a lot of stuff. It felt like a purge or a cleansing, and now I'm back on the hoarding train.
So you need more space. So eventually you'll get like another room, maybe.
I think I'm gonna move out of New York this summer. I'm gonna move, I think, to Colorado. Okay. Which is a big change for me. But I'm at the point where I really want to come back to nature and not just have more space for my stuff. That's a perk for sure.
But hiking also.
Hiking and outdoors and just being in, because as the world goes on, there aren't going to be as many beautiful natural places. Like, we are taking over this planet and we are like stomping on it. So, all I can do is enjoy it while it's here, fight for everything natural and beautiful, and, enjoy it while it's here.
My last question. You hinted on Twitter that you are an alien enthusiast.
Yes.
So a lot of people might not know that. Is it sci-fi fantasy, or is it like real alien life? This is something I always love talking about it because it's definitely controversial.
I've been into extraterrestrial alien stuff since I was a little kid, since I was 7 or 8, because I had an experience when I was young. Okay. And I saw something that at the time I had no idea what it was, but I saw it and experienced it. And my mom, remembers it with me like I do. And going through something at that age that people tell you it's not real and it's not happening. When you see it for yourself, you realize that reality is merely an illusion. It's whatever you experience for yourself. Because what do you know is true? People on the news can tell you something's true. Turns out it's not. Textbooks have been revised how many times? The only thing you know that's true is something you've experienced for yourself in your life that you've seen. That's your reality. So for me, I think it's fascinating, all the documentaries on extraterrestrial technology through the years, history, ancient aliens, all that stuff. It's incredible. It's something that no one really has a definite answer for. And to me, that's the magic that's left in the world. So I love it. I love researching it. And I like all alien stuff, but they're adorable, first of all. But I don't know. I just like hearing every side to every story. And there are so many people that have seen and experienced crazy stuff, and they're not taken seriously. But for them, it's something they've seen, they've experienced. I've seen and experienced a few things, since I was a kid. And it's just adventure to me, mental adventure, like intellectual adventure, wondering and thinking about possibilities in the future. And it's just really cool to me. Yeah.
Have you any tattoos that are related with that experience?
Yeah, on the back of my thigh, I have a portrait of it was taken from an old religious artwork of the Virgin Mary holding baby Jesus, and we translated a little bit, and now it's Lilith holding a little gray alien baby. It's the whole back of my thigh. It's so good, but just an homage to, like, you never know how things really went down. So the possibility of that, I've tried to honor it in a few different ways, but I have a big alien tattoo on the back of my leg. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you so much. It was fun.